In my last video, I showed you how to find and use fonts. I wanted to do an example of actually applying a font in a Photoshop document, specifically how to put fonts or text onto a path. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new document. So this is for a card. I'm going to make it 4¼ inches by 5½ inches, since that's an A2 size. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to call this Father's Day. I'm actually using an example from a client of mine. I'm going to go ahead and open up the image that she was going to use. Okay, so here's her image. I'm going to go ahead and select this. I'm hitting copy. And now I'm just hitting paste to paste this in here. This is way too big, so I'm just going to hit Command or Control T, and I can go ahead and resize this. I can hold the Shift key to size this down. I could have also gone up here and hit this little lock icon. And that will also constrain the proportions. I'm going to go ahead and size this down a little bit further. I think that looks pretty good. You'll see that little line shows up. That just means it's centered, which is what I want. I'm going to go ahead and add a new layer to this document, and I'm going to make it white. I could have used a color fill, but I felt like doing that. Okay, so now what I want to do is use my font. I showed you last time how you can install a font and then put it into your computer, how to install it so you can use it. Now I'm going to actually type onto this card. Simple way to do this is I could just start with my text and say, Happy Father's Day. This is way too tiny, obviously. I'm going to go ahead and make this font, let's see, what about 30? And I couldn't see what I was doing, so a little typo there. Hit little check. Now, I'm going to go ahead and use my little eyedropper tool to select one of the browns from here. So now I have this brown here, and I can hit Add to Swatches and call this, I'll call this Tree Brown, since it's brown from the tree. If you scroll down to the bottom of your swatches, you can see now how that's over here. So I can go ahead, I can highlight this text, and I can select that brown from over there. And you can see how that matches. What's even better is to pick one of your fonts you installed. So Adobe Garamond Pro is a default one. I have a font that I like called Alex Brush that I think would look nice. Oops, I didn't select it, sorry. So Alex Brush. I'm just starting to type in the name in this little bar here, and you can see that shows up as an option. Just click the little check. So there you can see, here's my text up here. Now what I can do this time is I'm just going to hide this original one, and I can go ahead and start doing some new text. This right here is a pen tool. I will tell you that in my opinion, this is much easier to do in Illustrator. I'm going to go ahead and hold this down. So I made a initial point, tried to point with my finger just there, and now I'm dragging this across, and you can see how that makes the line come out further, right? I can actually hold the Shift key and it holds it flat. Now what I want to do is make another point to connect the curve. If you want to move this, you can go ahead and play with, I think it's the, actually, sorry. There we go. If you want to move this, like I said, I usually do this in Illustrator. So like, here's this path selection tool. You can go ahead and select your path. This actually moves the whole path. If you go to this one right here, the direct selection tool will let you move just one of these little dots here. So you can see how that works. One thing that might be helpful is I could make a little guideline here, and now I can move this little dot so it matches. Okay, so now that I have a path, I can start adding a text. Okay, so I'm going to click on my path, and I'm going to start typing happy, oops, I have it in caps lock, Happy Father's Day. Click the little check. You hover right there. Do you see just that little spot is where the text is starting? So if I hover right at this point where it hits that little spot, you can see how this right there shows up. That allows me to shift where my text is. Like I said, this is a little tricky, but you can see that little symbol right there that shows up that allows me to move my text. I'm going to go ahead and just click the move tool. That's kind of a way of getting out of it. Once again, you can see how this is now in place over the tree. So that's typing on a path. Like I said, it is a little easier in Illustrator, but there is this path tool here. You're just clicking a start point, clicking to do your next one, clicking another point to connect it. You can also drag when you start, and that will change. You can see how it makes your path, you can see how it makes your starting point have this curve here. So let me click on this again. So you can see how there's a curve added there. So that's what that is. And once again, you can use this selection tool. The direct selection tool allows you to pick the point on the path. The path selection tool allows you to actually move the whole path. Here it is with the curved text. Here it is with the straight text. In this case, I think it's just kind of nice to have it arced over the tree in this example. So there you go, another way to use text. Once we're done, I'm just going to go to File, Save As, and call it Father's Day Card.